A reading from the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 2, verses 1 through 12. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem, in the territory of Judea, during the rule of King Herod, Magi came from the east to Jerusalem. They asked, "Where is the newborn King of the Jews? We've seen his star in the east, and we've come to honor him." When King Herod heard this, he was troubled, and everyone in Jerusalem was troubled with him. He gathered all the chief priests and the legal experts and asked them where the Christ was to be born. They said, "In Bethlehem of Judea, for this is what the prophet wrote. Bethlehem in the land of Judea, you are very important among the towns of Judea. From your town will come a leader who will be like a shepherd for my people." Then Herod secretly called for the Magi and found out from them the time when the star had first appeared. He sent them to Bethlehem, saying, "Go and search carefully for the child. When you found him, report to me so that I too may go and honor him." The Magi listened to what the king said and then left. And the star they had seen in the east went on ahead of them until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they were filled with joy. They entered the house and saw the child with Mary, his mother. Falling to their knees, they honored him. Then they presented him with gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Because they were warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they went back to their own country by another route.
May God bless the reading of this word, and may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing in God's sight. Have you ever thought about how difficult it would be to follow a star? I mean, really, in any sensible, practical way, you can't. At least, not in the way in which the gospel describes it. And yet, here we have this passage in the Gospel of Matthew that says these three wise men or scholars observed a star in the eastern sky, or as another translation put it, the star they had seen at its rising. In any case, the star led them on until it hovered over the place of the child. What can it mean to follow a star? These magi, the word comes from the same Greek root as magic or magician, watched the stars and read ancient texts. These magi, who were mysterious and foreign, knew of a promise and a hope. They knew the hope that had been kept for centuries. They'd read Isaiah chapter 60 themselves. "Arise, shine, your light has come." They lived in expectation of that light breaking into the world, and those magi journeyed many miles to the brightness of the star's rising. To follow this star, they had left home and family behind. They'd left their country, or countries, because we don't know that they were all from the same place. And they were now pilgrims. Along the way, they no doubt had to face perils and obstacles. But even they didn't have the location completely right, because they went first to Jerusalem and not Bethlehem. Well, of course they did. They went to the palace, because that's where kings live, right? They were looking for this new baby who was born the King of the Jews. So of course they went to the palace. And then, when they finally arrive at their destination, they find the star they've been following over a simple house. It's one of the ways we know the three kings didn't visit at the same time as the shepherds. Matthew tells us the shepherds found Jesus and his family in a stable, and later says that the three kings or magi found Jesus in a house. So what do we learn from all of this? That we too often look in the wrong places for the answers to life's persistent questions? Or perhaps that God is a God who is revealed. Not simply a God who gives rules to follow, but a God who changes us by our very seeking. a God who continually is revealed to us and to the world in places and through people whom we don't expect. Or perhaps what we learn from this is simply that it's really difficult to follow a star. So how do these wise ones follow the star? Ruth Faulkner imagines they need the longing for change and attentiveness for the signs of the times. They need courage to journey into the unknown. They need to weather danger. They need to ask for directions and to change course. And they need the ability to recognize the unexpected as their goal. Because what's at the end of their journey? The goal of the wise ones is not an end to their journey, but a beginning of their journey with God. Their journey will be different, and their lives will be too. After all, they went back to their own country by another route. Have you ever thought about how difficult it is to follow a star? Even a very bright one. Yonder star. One star in a million, perhaps billion. If we've looked up into that night sky 2,000 plus years ago, would that star have meant anything to us? Just this little point of light in the darkness. And yet the Magi followed. But can anyone really understand how to follow a star? Can we bring these things together at the start of this new year? I think that's our challenge this morning. A challenge I'll leave to your hearts. A challenge I won't try to explain and tie up neatly like a Christmas bow, because, well, it's not as if I have the answer. I don't. But I want to encourage us this morning to open our hearts to God's Spirit at work in us. To open ourselves to God at work in the star words that you'll pick up at communion. You'll pick just a random word. And at first that word may not seem to hold meaning for you, but I hope that you'll put it somewhere where you'll see it every day, and that as the year unfolds, as Spirit speaks to you, that word will be a light for you. The star is for you to follow, not for me to explain. So let's open ourselves to the questions. Let's open ourselves to hope. Let's open ourselves to the darkness. The star will show us the way. And we can follow confident, however haltingly, nevertheless confident of the light, because the light will not be overcome. Amen and amen. I invite you to stand as you're able in body and or in spirit to join in singing, Arise, Your Light is Come. It's the New Century Hymnal number 164. 164.
Arise, your light
notice who wrote that last song?
Yes.
Ruth Duck. Hang on, I'm looking for something. Where'd it go? Ruth Duck was a